Hey guys, just want to run through the settings for the Navigate on Autopilot before we go for a drive, just to run you through those quickly so you understand that. Now under the Autopilot settings, I now have Navigate on Autopilot beta, and then I've got Customize Navigate on Autopilot. I've also now got Summon here as well, and we'll look at that in another video. So we just want to have a quick look through these settings. It does say beta here. I don't remember seeing that beta listed for all this stuff when I bought it, but it probably was there somewhere. I just don't remember that. So we've got enable at start of every trip. So that is the default what you want to have when you navigate somewhere. It sees a freeway as a part of that navigation. It will make sure that Navigate on Autopilot turns on automatically as you enter that freeway. If you set it to no, you can still use Navigate on Autopilot, but you just need to manually activate it once you arrive at that freeway or once you're driving on the freeway. I think it's, with a couple of these entries into the freeways, I've noticed it starts indicating a long way back to exit out of that exit. But some motorways, that entry lane actually does become a lane of the motorway, and that could be quite annoying initially. So you might want to just, you might prefer to manually initiate Navigate on Autopilot. And you'll see that when we're driving later, you have this little blue square, and that's your Navigate on Autopilot. You can turn it on and off anytime you want. So if you don't want to be using that feature and just want to stick to standard autopilot. Speed-based lane changes. So this sets your threshold for sitting behind slow vehicles. So this sets how slow you need to be going before it initiates an overtaking maneuver based on your speed. And you can have that disabled so that you initiate the speed-based lane changes yourself. And then, you can disable that. And then, you need to indicate initiate an auto lane change. That might be how some people prefer to have it. I think it's, if you got the system, why not use it? I've left it on average for now, and that seems quite reasonable. It was sitting behind a slow truck today, and I was sitting on about 85 in a 100-kilometre-an-hour zone, and it wasn't initiating a pass. It took a while before it did, and I'm quite comfortable with that. I think if you're a little bit impatient, you might want to throw it into Mad Max mode, but that's all a personal preference for you and your style of driving. The next setting is exit passing lane. So if you want the car to exit out of that fast overtaking lane once you've done your overtaking and there's no more cars to pass, it's actually law here in Australia on any road 80-kilometre-an-hour speed limit and above. It's illegal to sit in the overtaking lane unless you are overtaking a car. So they want to keep that fast lane clear. For faster cars, emergency vehicles, if you're sitting in that overtaking lane and you're going slow and you're not overtaking, you can create some unsafe situations with the cars behind you. So it's always good to get over and keep things safe. Keep that fast traffic moving. The guys that want to drive fast, just let them pass. Let them get out of the way. And you just drive at your own pace. But yeah, just don't do that in the overtaking lane. So what this will do is just say, okay, once it's finished a speed-based lane change overtaking maneuver, it will prompt you to do a lane change back into the middle lane or the left lane, or it'll just want to get you out of that overtaking lane. So that's fine. I will be leaving that to yes. Require lane change confirmation. So when the car wants to initiate a lane change, whether it be for an exit from the freeway or a speed-based lane change to do an overtaking maneuver, at the moment I've got it set to yes, so it requires me to give a confirmation on the indicator stalk to say yes, go ahead and do an automatic lane change. I'm going to leave it set to that for now. I am going to trial it without asking for a confirmation and at some stage, but I'm leaving it there for the moment. I prefer to have a look around the car and say, yes, am I comfortable for it to do an auto lane change? Yes or no, or whatever. and you can cancel that by indicating in the opposite direction, or you know, giving a press down on the stalk in the opposite direction to what the car's indicating, and that will cancel that auto lane change. Or you can just do nothing and it will eventually give up and turn the indicator off. But do remember that it is indicating when it wants to do a lane change confirmation. It starts indicating, and then it asks for your confirmation. So you will be sitting there with your indicator going, and you may freak the cars out around you thinking you're going to change lanes and you don't. So probably good to just keep an eye on that. And it does give you a chime, and it's pretty obvious on the screen. You can even see it in your peripheral vision that it's trying to initiate a lane change. So that's pretty obvious. But yeah, just have some practice with that, and when you're confident, you can probably turn it off and let the car just change lanes automatically. And I think if you have no lane change confirmation, that would be pretty much like full self-driving on a highway situation. So that could be quite cool. If you turn it off, gives you a warning, and then you can get it to let you know. Even though the car will initiate the auto lane change itself without asking you for permission, you can set it to still let you know with a chime or a vibrate or both, or just turn that off. So it's up to you. You've got all the options there. Now I will turn that back to yes, because I want the car to ask me before it changes lanes until I get used to the system. And yeah, I'll go for a drive, and that's all the settings there are. No other settings here. I do give you a word of warning later on in the video anyway, but when you buy this package, you then have auto lane change on for good. You can't turn it off. I think at some point you probably are going to be able to turn off the auto lane change. So whenever you have autopilot engaged, not just navigate on autopilot, you will have auto lane change, and that could be quite scary for you if you don't realize. So if you have unfamiliar people driving the car, I would just turn these things off anyway. I would turn off auto steer and all these things. You know, that could be quite scary for someone to initiate auto steer or autopilot or navigate on autopilot when they're not expecting it, especially someone coming from a car where the indicators are on the other side. They can come along and think the indicator's on the right hand side and actually initiate autopilot accidentally, or traffic aware cruise control. So that's it for the settings. Let's go and do the drive review and see how it goes, see how it performs. Just going to do a quick attempt at navigate on autopilot. You can see here I've navigated a way that's going to take me onto this motorway here. I've got a bit of traffic coming up. I may just skip through this, but I wanted to give you a little bit of another demo on auto lane change. So we might just change lanes a couple of times here and test it out. There's a bit of traffic, so the car's going to have to think a bit. Just wants to check that you got your hand on the wheel before it does it. It's just done an auto lane change there, no problem. Got to make sure you're in autopilot with auto steer going. Now, my concern with this now after using it for a while is you can't turn it off. So from now on, if I keep this feature, it's going to be on there all the time. So no matter when I'm in autopilot, auto lane change is going to be on. I'll just do another auto lane change here into this one. Now if there's a car in the way, it will slow down or speed up within the speed limit to maneuver you into that free space. So yeah, it's been pretty good. I've been testing it out myself off the camera for a while. Just trying to see if there'll be an opening further down here. I'll see if I can maneuver in. Hopefully there's a nice patient person that's going to let me get across into the lane. Let's just see, we'll wait till we get through these traffic lights down here. But yeah, that's my concern. I can't find anywhere in the settings to be able to turn it off, which is something you need to consider. When you're running an autopilot, as soon as you indicate, the car's just going to automatically change lanes. So that becomes something that could be scary to someone that it is, say, borrowing your car and using the autopilot feature. So something to think about. Been trying to find a negative with the auto steer. That's the with the auto lane change. That's the only negative so far, is not being able to turn it off. But I think that's just a bit of an adjustment. As long as people know that it's going to do that, that's fine. If you've got someone using the car that hasn't driven a Tesla before, it may be a good idea just to turn off the navigate on autopilot and the auto steer. And then just keep the autopilot like a traffic aware cruise control then. A bit more simple, where you've still got to steer yourself. That might be better. Just make sure you turn that on, or turn that off, sorry. So we'll give a auto lane change a go here. So there's a gap between these cars you can see here. I'll indicate, and hopefully this person cut that a bit tight. That's something, yeah, you got to be careful not being able to turn it off. It didn't really leave much room for that car. There was a gap there, but whether that person was prepared to let me in was another story. Yeah, so we're coming up to the motorway now, and let's just see, I used Navigate on Autopilot last when I trialed the FSD package. It worked okay. I wasn't too sure when it was supposed to start. We'll see where it picks up. I trialed it out on a couple of times on a motorway that probably wasn't the best for it. It was a little bit confusing, a lot of exits and entries coming in around the same time, and I was only testing it on a bit of a short stretch. I'll see how this goes. I've got 2 possible exits I could try and take. I don't know which exit it's trying to get me to take here. It's sending me, where is it taking me? Okay, it's taking me all the way up to Pennant Hills Road, so that should be good. That's a good stretch. I think if it does what I want it to do with another exit, we might just see what happens, trying to exit a bit early, but we'll see how it goes. All right, I had to break the autopilot there. I'll re-engage once we're on the motorway. You can see here it's ready to navigate on autopilot. That's the little blue symbol there. Hope we don't get too much sun glare along here. I don't know if you guys can see all the potholes that are coming back again after this little bit of rain. Okay, autopilot set to 100. Okay, it's wanting me to confirm a lane change, but it really does that extra check to make sure your hand is on the wheel. That's great. So we can see the single blue line now, which means it's on navigate using autopilot. So I've got it to ask me about lane changes because I'm new to it, but you can set it so that it will just automatically lane change as long as your hand's on the wheel. It's wanting to take me into this faster lane. It asks for my confirmation, and you just touch the indicator. So it automatically turns your indicator off for you. Now, this is the thing I wanted to check. Is it just going to sit in this overtaking lane, not overtaking, and annoy people behind me? I'm not sure. I've set it to, I haven't got it in Mad Max mode. I'll run through the settings. I may end up putting a bit of a snippet in before this video about the settings for Navigate on Autopilot. So you can set how aggressive it is with the overtaking of slow cars. And you can tell it to, when you're not overtaking, tell it to get back into the other lane, get out of the overtaking lane. which is a law here in Australia. If you're not overtaking, you need to merge back over to the left. So see here, it's wanting me to confirm the lane change again. I think I just cancelled it. So I just did a half press on the stalk and it asked me to, and it cancelled that lane change. Let's see what it does with this truck. I think I can see a car coming up in the right lane here now. Maybe once it's passed, it might want to get me past this truck. Let's see what it does. It's quite happy to keep me in this lane now. Maybe because I manually changed into this lane. So I've got a lot of cars coming up on the right-hand side. I think I might have confused it when I manually changed into this lane. But you can see it's a nice solid blue line. It's almost like the full self-driving beta line you see on those videos, the full self-driving. Okay, it wants me to change now, but it's... no. There's a car coming up, it's saying red. This is what I was hoping I'd get this situation. It's not going to let me change lanes. Okay, it's just pushed into this little hole here. Hopefully it accelerates now. It completed the lane change and beeped at me to say it was... ah, it's taken me out of navigate on autopilot. Let's do another auto lane change here. Possibly because of this tunnel. Yeah. Okay, so while that was good that happened actually. You can see it gets rid of navigate on autopilot when you go through a tunnel, because I guess it doesn't have the GPS signal, or there's a chance that the GPS signal won't be good. Let's see, I've got an exit coming up. Let's see how soon that it navigates me to that left lane to take the exit. This might end up being a good test. Let's see. This is quite a confusing road. You can see there's a lot of road repairs here affecting the line markings. They obviously don't have autopilot or auto steer cars in mind. See, I just could turn here, it's found that truck and it's slowing me down. And then it will auto lane change me into that lane. So I was glad that happened actually, just to show you that you can just indicate when you're ready. It gave me the prompt to say I needed to get into this lane to take the exit. And you know, there was a car in the way, but it slowed down. It didn't try and accelerate fast past that vehicle to get into this lane, which is good. You want it to drive safely. All right, well that's worked out well. I think we had a couple of different scenarios there in the one hit, so I think this video will be good enough on its own just to give you a quick demo of it. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think that's quite a good feature to have. You can turn it off so that it just goes back to normal autopilot. And you can see here on the exit, it automatically sets your max speed down. It will do that without navigate on autopilot. It does that with normal autopilot. So if you sort of fell asleep and ended up going into an exit lane, the car, look at that, got me into this lane and everything to exit and take the thing. It's put me back into normal autopilot. And it's taken me down to 60 now. So if for some reason you did fall asleep or not realise that you were on the exit ramp, the car will slow you down, and then I guess the emergency braking would cut in when you came up behind another car. So all right guys, I might just kill the video there. I think that's a good enough demo of navigate on autopilot. I think that's a pretty refined system. And I'd imagine there's a lot of things in that are, a lot of software related things in that are very similar to the full self-driving package. And I'd imagine there's a lot of yeah, similarities there. So it's not much of a stretch. So I'd say that navigation on Autopilot has had a lot of improvement since I last used it. That was much better. My main concern was it hanging in the right lane while it's not overtaking. You know, that it has a good threshold there, because I like to do the speed limit mostly everywhere, and I think, you know, you get people on motorways wanting to do 10, 20 kilometers an hour above the speed limit. So if you're overtaking a car and you're only just overtaking and it's hanging you in the right lane, it could really annoy some people. I know it's legal, but you just don't want to annoy people if you don't need to. But as you saw, you can just navigate back into the middle lane manually, and yeah, the car doesn't tend to worry too much about that. You just saw it sat behind that truck and was waiting for me to tell it to get back into the overtaking lane again. I think once it sees you manually put the car into a lane, maybe it takes a while for it to kick back into that automatic overtaking. So, all right, guys, that worked out really well. I'm impressed with this feature. I was never in doubt of this feature, but you know, that only negative that I mentioned before is not being able to turn off auto lane change. Once you're stuck with this package, that auto lane change is on for good, as far as I can tell. If anyone knows any different, I couldn't see anything in the manual. If anyone knows a little trick to turn that off for people that want to be able to do that, let me know. But looks like I'm going to keep this package. If I don't cancel it by 10 o'clock this morning, I own it. So I think I'll be keeping it. Or if I don't request a refund by 10 o'clock this morning, I think that's going to, or probably lunchtime, but I'm going to work now. So look, I've ran out of time to do some proper tests on the summon feature, but I think, yeah, I'll keep this, and it might be a good little thing every now and again to show you guys if there's a note on an improvement or something with it, and I can let you know how the auto parking is progressing, how, you know, if that perpendicular parking becomes usable. I think it's pretty horrible. So yeah, let's leave it there, and hope you got something out of that, and hope that sort of helps you make a decision whether to buy this package or not, whether that's going to work for you. I love my little gadgets and little features and things, so I've been looking forward to this enhanced Autopilot package coming out. So guys, thanks for watching. Make sure if you watch this video and you enjoy it that you do subscribe. I'd love to get my subscriber levels up a little bit, just to make sure that more people are benefiting from my videos. And yeah, thanks guys, thanks for watching again, and I'll catch you next video. I'm going to do, next video will be on the summon feature. I'll try and do, I'm a bit wary of that one, but the smart summon anyway. The normal summon, I've been testing that out, and it's great. I think I can, you know, I thought that was just a useless sort of showing off feature for the car, but the more I use it, I'm probably using it in situations I don't need to, but it just saves that unnecessary thing of, you know, come back to the car and you go to get in and it's a really tight spot, someone's parked you in, you can just reverse the car out and get in safely without banging your door on anything. So that's quite good. And I'm rambling on again about things that aren't related to this video, but guys, I'll just cut it off there so I don't ramble on anymore. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.